The rainbow emerger is an excellent choice when prospecting shallow shoals or when trout are in the top half of the water feeding on emergers and adults. When trout are in the upper reaches, using a pattern such as the rainbow emerger just below the surface has often saved the day. Here are the materials you will need to add this pattern to your fly box. So let's tie the rainbow emerger, one of the best-selling flies that Brian and I have on our online Stillwater fly fishing store. I placed a number 12 S82 3906B mustad hook into the jaws of my Regal. Debarbed it using the Regal as well, one of its great features as well. I'm going to attach some 70 denier or 8/0 tying thread, whatever you choose to use, in black. And to get that started, I'm going to remove the tag and carry on down the shank, providing a good firm thread base. For the tail, I'm going to use some partridge fibers. I'm just going to take a feather. I've removed the fluff from the base to expose the tip section of the fibers I want to use, and I've just pulled these fibers perpendicular to the stem, and I'm just going to strip away. This is probably a, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch maybe of material. Don't want to make it too heavily dressed a tail. And we're just going to take the thread, 2 wraps. That's about right. We want a half shank length tail on this fly. If you want, you can always pull on it gently. And then we're just going to secure these fibers all the way up the shank to make sure we've got a good firm purchase on them. And this also helps ensure that our body of the fly is nice and smooth. There's no lumps or bumps because we tied everything in at the back end and trimmed it off and created a little bump of materials right at the base of the tail. We've got that all done. I'm going to leave my tying thread hanging momentarily up about 3/4 of the way, and we're going to tie in the body material. And the body material is a number of materials. We want a rainbow color, so there's lots of rainbows. This is a rainbow black from Uni and their axle products, their spooled axle products. If you can find this in your local craft store, this Crania Metallics number 034 is an excellent body material. It's all the same, basically, a rainbow coloration. And you could also use crystal flash in rainbow as well. So there's lots of options there for you. And it's definitely a non-traditional, but the fish seem to like to single this fly out, particularly when it's a good cast and retrieve pattern, but I've also used it with good effect when fish are right up on the surface, taking emergers, whether it's Callibaetis or chironomids or even caddis. So I'm just securing my body material down the shank, right to the base of the tail, back up to the 3/4 point, and then we're just going to wrap this nice and tight around the shank forward to the tying thread. Tie that off, and again we're about 2/3, probably 3/4 of the way up the shank. We've got to build a little thorax and tie in a little soft tackle. It's a very simple fly, but very effective. Now, I'm going to tie in my soft tackle now, because I find it a lot easier on soft tackles to tie the feather in now as opposed to at the end of the fly when I form the thorax and have a minimum of working space right at the hook eye. So I've selected another partridge feather. I have stripped away the fluff from the sides of the stem to expose the feathers, and I want to pick a feather that's about the shank length in fibers long. It could be a little longer, but that's what I like to do. And then I'm going to tie this in right on top of the hook shank, right at the eye of the hook if I can, leaving a little bit of that feather stem exposed to help aim and position. And if you'll notice, I've got the concave side of the feather facing the tail, or the convex facing the front, whatever reference, or the most prominently marked side of the feather. If you look at one side of the feather to the other, this is a darker coloration than this side. And that's what you want to do. So when we wind these fibers in, they're going to naturally sweep back. Give you that nice soft tackle. So now by doing this way, I've got a good purchase on this feather. because I've tied the stem in. I give it a little bit of a twist. If that doesn't break it, I can just come in and nip the body. Now all we've got to do is form the thorax. For the thorax, you could use dubbing, you could use peacock curl. I'm going to use some of this Lucient Chenille, number 615 in peacock. This is a Montana fly product. It's a great little material to build your thoraxes out of. So this is like a ultra micro chenille, if you will. It's got nice, it's very durable, some nice iridescence to it. I'm just going to tie that in right where the body, onto the body a little bit, and then we're just going to take this around the hook shank a couple of times to form a thorax. Nothing too complex here. Tie that off. Trim. Alright, we're now, with the thorax complete, we're just going to form the hackle and finish the fly. So I'm going to take my feather, and rather than come in and attach the hackle pliers right away, I'm going to take a positioning wrap by rotating it half a turn and attach my hackle pliers to the tip section on the underside. This makes sure that my feather is positioned properly, it's not twisted, and I'm going to get that natural sweep back that I wanted. I want to make sure that the fibers rather, flow backwards, that the most prominently marked side of the feather is facing the front, so I get that natural swept look. And I'm just going to make a couple of turns. That's all you need. I'm going to bring the tying thread up and sort of zigzag it through. Come in with my scissors, clearing away the tip area on top, just a short little nip like that. Sort of zigzag back through, and now what we're going to do is sweep these back and at the same time form a neat little head. And we can just take our fingers and rub on the feathers and make sure that they're distributed equally around the shank. I've got a couple here that seem to be more orientated towards the front. And then once that's done, I'm just going to come in with my thumb and forefinger, like a little cone here. A couple of strokes. Hold everything down. And just come in and build a nice, neat little head. Whip finish. And the fly is essentially done. All we need to do is apply a little head cement. I'm just going to pull this back away. And the beauty of soft hackles is you can train them by using a simple pinch, and you get that nice flow. And then we can come in with our, in this case, our super glue, and just place a little dab. That's going to flow in, and there is the finished rainbow emerger. A little unorthodox, but boy, this fly, it's got lots of nice movement, and anytime you're facing an emerger situation or cast and retrieve and you want to explore and there's been some hatches, this is a great little pattern to try. So make sure you put a few of these in your fly box in your emerger section. For more information on fly fishing, and stillwater fly fishing in particular, please visit my website at flycraftangling.com. Here you'll find lots of information, including fly fishing tips, fly patterns, articles, dates on my seminars and schools, along with links to my blog and mine and Brian Chan's online stillwater fly fishing shop. You can also visit our store directly at stillwaterflyfishingstore.com. Please join the conversation on my Facebook page or follow me on Twitter. Thanks for watching, and please take the time to watch my other tying videos as well.